All right, so getting ahead of the game is the theme of tonight's video here. There's really two main points that I have in this particular video. And the first one is I'm trying to acquire cards now that I think price-wise are going to be way out of range in the future. I don't give any advice to people like, hey, you should be buying this or anything like that. These are just my opinions, and these are the things that I'm looking to purchase. So I got bored one day, and I decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and search for Ohtani 1-of-1 cards, see what happens. And I was thinking, if I could find some sort of licensed one-of-one for like $1,000, $1,500, I might be in the market for one of those. Why not? So I did a search, and sure enough, I actually ran into a 1-of-1 Ohtani card. So here it is. It is a licensed 2025 Topps hollow foil 1-of-1 RBI League Leaders cards. It's a trio, so there's 2 other athletes on it, but it's a licensed Ohtani in a Dodgers uniform. It's a 1-of-1. I think they have 3, maybe 4 different variations of 1-of-1s. From this particular subset, but I was so excited to see it. So the seller wanted $1,500. I'm like, well, I don't want to pay that. And if you take a look at the back, on the top edge on the back, it's got a little ding. So it's not a card that's going to grade exceptionally high. It's not going to be a 10. It's probably not going to be a 9 or an 8 either. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be a 7, maybe a 6. But it's a 1-of-1. I don't really care. The design of the card is really cool. And before I ended up buying this card, I was talking to a friend of mine about it. And I look at Ohtani through the same lens that I look at Michael Jordan through. I just view his cards as, even though they're expensive, in a lot of cases, I just think they're still cheap for where they're going to be. And I asked my buddy, I was just like, if there was a scoring leaders Michael Jordan card from the 1990s, that had 3 or 4 different variations of a 1-of-1, what do you think that would be worth? And even though we didn't discuss specific numbers, we were in agreement that our consensus was a lot. So again, seller wanted $1,500. I didn't want to pay $1,500 for this card. So I think I offered $1,000. We ended up settling, I think I paid about $1,150, maybe slightly more with tax and everything, but around $1,150 for this card, and I am super, super pumped. I thought with how much prices have just gone through the roof, I didn't think that I'd have a chance to be able to get a 1-of-1 Ohtani license card in a Dodger uniform. There's a lot of stuff out there that's acquirable. It's, for me at least, do I want to give up enough stuff to be able to acquire it? If you start talking about cards that are $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, I mean, are they technically acquirable? Yeah. But in a lot of cases, I don't want to give up what's necessary to be able to get those types of cards. And so this was actually a fairly budget-friendly opportunity to be able to get that card. As time goes on, I've become more and more of a collector that looks to pick up things that are not readily available. Sometimes that's low-numbered. Sometimes that's low pop. Sometimes that's a specific characteristic of a card, which we're going to get into later in this video. But I was able to get it. I wanted to make this video now because I'm sending this to PSA. As we know, the value services are shut down from PSA, but PSA is not shut down. So I can pay $80, go ahead and get it in a slab. I don't know, probably take a couple months. I haven't even looked at the timelines in a while. Doesn't matter. Don't care that it's not going to grade exceptionally well. It's a 1-of-1, so there's nothing to compare it to. So super pumped about that. Now, the second piece, one other thing real quick. So with PSA, I did find out that the last order that I sent to my group subber, the post office took forever. I sent it on like May 11th and it didn't get there till early June. My group subber was able to get it to PSA before the cutoff. So super pumped about that. Waxpack Nation, gemmint.com. That's the group subber that I go to. Very, very happy that they were able to do that. So shout out to them and thank you guys for being able to do that. Part 2 of the video. Now, I said that I typically am trying to acquire cards that are difficult to acquire. Whether, again, that's low number, low pop, whatever the case may be, or specific attributes. So here we go. I'm preparing for the National next month. And I've seen that the 1988 Fleer All-Star Michael Jordans in a 9 have been shooting up in price. So it's this particular card. I'm talking they're over $1,000, $1,100. I've seen them as high as $1,300, maybe even $1,400 and above for a 9. I love that card, but I don't love it for $1,300. So what I decided to do was to scour eBay and look for an 8 that is super, super well centered, that doesn't have fish eyes on the front. And I found a great copy. And so what I did was I paid $500 for an 8, but now I've freed up that 9. So I'm going to take that 9 to the National, and I'm either going to sell it or I'm going to trade it towards something else, and I'm going to basically cash out on that value. I'm going to be honest, guys. I had, again, I really like this 9. It's a legit 9. But, you know, I'm looking at some of these 8s, and there's some high-quality 8s out there. And this 8 that I purchased looks as good or maybe even slightly better than my 9. So I'm letting the 9 go. You know, think about it. If I can get $1,300 in value for that card, that's an $800 gain from paying $500 for the 8. That gives me an opportunity to buy a bunch of cards, or buy one higher end card, or trade that card towards a higher end card, whatever the case may be. But I'm of the opinion that sometimes it's okay to downshift a little bit, trade down, so to speak, numerically on the flip, if it means hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Now, of course, it depends on the card. I get all that. Like, I understand how the pops work and all that stuff. But that's something that I did to prepare for the National. Now, the other thing, another pickup that I made, I went ahead and picked up a 1989 All-Star also. The 88s have been shooting up so much, I thought, well, I probably need to make sure I get the 89 and 90. So I picked up the 1989. I'm going to wait to post a picture of that. I don't have that in hand just yet. But I picked up one that's a BGS, that's in a BGS holder, and it's got a 9.5 in centering. And if you know anything about this card, I can post a picture of it without the slab. You know that this card is notoriously off-centered, left to right, top to bottom, usually all of the above. 9.5 centering. Freaking love that copy. And so I went ahead and picked that up, thinking, well, you know, if Jordan stuff is going to continue to just keep skyrocketing in price, I want to stay ahead of that game. And I want to pick up a copy that I'll keep in my PC. It's not a flipping thing. It's a, well, you know, how easy is it to find copies of that card that have perfect or near perfect centering? It's very tough. So super pumped to get that. I can't wait to get that in hand. I should get that. It's got to go through authentication, so it's probably going to be a week, maybe a couple weeks before I end up getting it. And, of course, I also picked up then the 1990 Fleer All-Star card as well in a 9. This time in a PSA 9. It's hard to find these cards centered. And these cards have gone up quite a bit. I remember looking at them and thinking, you know, the 9s are selling for $70, $80. I should probably pick up a few of these. I didn't. Well, I ended up paying $140 for one. But it is very, very well centered, as you can see. And so went ahead and picked that up. Again, you could argue and say, well, you're not ahead of the game because you're paying these higher prices. True. But I'm making sure that I have really well-centered copies, because some people just don't care. A 9's a 9. Doesn't matter to them. For me, I'm okay with paying a little bit of a premium to get a very, very well-centered copy that just looks better than a lot of others. I'm okay with that. A lot of people aren't, and I get it. But centering to me is actually a big deal with a lot of these Jordan cards. So again, I ended up picking that up. Last but not least here, in preparation for the National, I've talked about this in the past. I try not to pass on good opportunities leading up to the show, because the National, as I mentioned in a previous video, the National is the best place to get rare cards of a player, but not necessarily specific rare cards of a player. Think about that for a second. It really does make sense. So I ended up picking up a 2025 gold Dylan Harper rookie card. So It's in an SGC slab. But I ended up picking it up because I'm like, well, I really like Harper. I think he's a great player. And I don't know if I'm going to see any of those at the National. I'm going to see tons of Harper cards, I would imagine. But I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be holding Harper because, yes, his prices are up, but I don't think he has met his potential by any means. And I thought, well, I want to get one that is of a higher grade. Mine is an SGC 9.5. I'm going to go ahead and pick up one that's in a higher grade now. So I got one that's at least mint or better. I know the quality in 2025 Topps is pretty iffy. That's based on gem rate data. It's also based on opening a bunch of the product. It's really hit or miss. And so I wanted to go ahead and get that as well because, again, I think people are going to be holding them. I believe that Harper is kind of a higher ceiling type of Ginobili player. There's a lot of similarities. And so I went ahead and picked him up also. 20 years old. The guy was great. They were a young team. They made some mistakes in the finals, Harper included. But I think they're going to be back. So with that said, let me know. What do you think of the Ohtani 101? Does the fact that it's a league leaders card, does that is that a no-no for you, so to speak? I mean, is that a card that you would automatically not want just because there's other players on it? Do you think it was a good purchase? Also, what types of stuff are you doing to prepare for the National, and what types of things are you looking to pick up as of late? I will see you guys in the next one.